My name is Rahul Balyan. I head the digital initiatives for Radio Mirchi, and I'm going to be talking about Gen Y and the future of marketing. Okay, so that's a tough topic to really take. Where is marketing really going to go? It's anybody's guess really. But what I'm going to be trying to do here is trying to share with you some thoughts that we as a company, as Radio Mirchi, have in terms of what is happening with the youth today. I'll be sharing something in terms of of course, also when you're trying to predict the future, you want to be seeing where you've come from, where you are today, and hopefully that gives you some indications of where you're going to be going next. So let me begin with sharing one simple graph with you, and we all know this story. This is India's GDP. All right, so we know India has been growing at a CAGR of some 7.5% over the last 10-15 years, but sometimes we kind of forget what has this GDP growth done to us as a country and as an economy. The reason why all of us are sitting in this room and going to be talking about the future of marketing is really summarized by this graph. What is really astonishing is in the 8 years from 2002, there's a line right below the slide, so those of you right at the back may not be able to see it. So between 2002 and 2010, the per capita income of Indians has grown by 3 times. Okay, now what that does to this country in terms of consumerism, in terms of opportunities, in terms of ambitions to the Gen Y, which is out there working and is pretty ambitious, is amazing. And that really is the reason why there is this huge buzz about India, and this graph is really going ballistic. It's almost, except for that little sort of downturn in 2008, it really is going through the stratosphere. So that this really is the fundamental reason of where we are coming from and where we are headed. The other really interesting data point for us is if you were to look at from 1980, which is sort of defined as the starting point of Gen Y, strangely, because Gen Y is now actually passé if you are really talking of the youth. In 1980, we were an agrarian economy. So more than 70% of our GDP was agriculture. 2010, we are more than 60% of our GDP is services. Now it is, again, in terms of what it does to opportunities in this country, to youth, and all the job prospects that all of you have out in the market, this graph really summarizes it. This graph is the DNA of how India's GDP has changed in our lifetimes. We've seen India completely transform from being an agrarian-based economy to a service-based economy. Again, we have heard of these terms, but when you look at it so starkly in terms of what numbers these show, there is a completely different sense to the whole thing. There's a third chart that I want to share with you. It is really India's demography. For the longest time, now this is a third piece of evidence that I just want to present to you, which is India's demographic. India's demography. Now, demography is destiny. This is the new term which is being handed out, and for the longest time, the biggest problem that India had was its population. Today, the biggest opportunity that India has is its population. And the really interesting thing about this graph is that it's a really interesting shape. Okay, and the way to look at this is every horizontal line here is the size of that income of that population segment. So this would represent, let's say, 15 to 20-year-old males, and and so on. The interesting point is that every younger age group is bigger than the older age group. It forms a sort of a funnel. It's a really nice shape. Now the shape is again not a given, because there are countries where like Japan maybe, which are a lot older, they have a bigger bulge here and it probably fall down straighter down. Now what does it really mean? What it means is that as in the next 10 to 15 years, all these younger people are going to move up. They're going to get more productive. We're going to have a lot more productivity coming in India. It is again a given. There is nothing we can do about it. Whatever be the economic trends, it is again destiny that in the next 20 years, India's productive manpower is going to go up from the current level of, let's say, whatever 60 odd % we are at, to 67 to 70%.